All right, welcome everybody. This is the Nephew SIG Automation Meeting for October 18th. Let me share the agenda. 1 second. Okay, so I wanted to, for those who were not able to attend or just wanted, it looks like most of the people on the list here were here. We're at the summit. We did have, I thought, a really great summit. I was really happy with it. Lots of good discussions. And I think we need to collate all of the notes people have. So I have a few notes, and I'm wondering if we can create somewhere. There's a on the agenda. There was a link in each session for people to ask questions and things. I haven't gone and looked. I don't know, Tal, if you had a chance to look, although it doesn't look like you're in audio. Um, the but anything anybody want to say about the summit or any questions anybody has? I feel like it went really well, but curious to hear others' thoughts before we move on. Okay, nothing. Is anybody hearing me?
No. We can hear you. I think
Okay.
the sound was great. I think, yeah, we most of
Just nobody. Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Awesome. Then what I'm gonna put, I'll put in here. Uh, I'll say I will add a link here to doc where we can add. I think, I'd like to make sure that we probably have a little bit more time. We take the notes, we put them together, and we kind of see if there's any specific action items that are coming out of that. We have a couple of notes documents, and I just want to make sure that we don't squander any of the discussions or thoughts we had from the summit. So that's my point here. All right. Anyway, moving on then, R2. So looking at the board, I have not had a chance to look at the board. We are making progress, I know, a little bit at a time. And why is that so slow? There we go. I guess we still want to target. We actually have a little extra time than we're not. The official due date's not really November 15th, but we want to still target that at least for code freeze, if not before that, code freeze before that. So I guess at this point, I'm going to suggest rather than going through the board now, which could take quite a bit of time, we go to the other item on the agenda. And then, maybe before we do, is there anybody blocked, or do people know what they're working on for R2? And if you're blocked, is there anything somebody here can help you with? Or otherwise, we will move on to this other agenda item. And then after that's done, we can go through the board here and see if there's any updates on pieces.
Well,
Okay, I will take.
in my case, I have completed few items, so probably have some free cycles that can maybe or improve the sandbox, or maybe I can help someone else.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, there's an issue we talked about at the summit. I don't know that it got actually tagged in the release about improving the sandbox. Remember, Victor, we talked about like
I have one like which is like adding proxy support, or maybe I was thinking to explore like
that was one.
the private images as well. So probably I don't know which could be much better. Like
Yes, that would be good. And there was one about like that the sorry, I'm gonna find it here. I'll assign this one to you. Why is it so slow today? Um, Sandbox improvements. Oh, it's already assigned to you, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. So one was cloning the GitHub repos so that they're in Git and we don't have to have any connectivity out, so that we can alleviate the proxy issue. But okay. So Joseph, so okay, that sounds great, Victor. Yeah, those
Okay.
all of those things you said are really good to look at.
Okay. I will
Uh,
take that.
thank you. Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, so I had actually updated the presentation last time we discussed on how to proceed on the common configurations and how to share it with the pages. So I had some updates. I've tried it out, and I've seen some. Uh, I was not expecting some things to happen, so I just wanted to discuss on if I'm doing things correctly and if we need to do
Okay.
some fixes. So we can discuss that.
Is that this agenda item right
Yeah,
here, or is that
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
All right, we'll get to that in a second then. That's awesome. Thank
Sure.
you. We have
Sure.
one more hand, Fikra.
Not really R2 related, but yeah, just I was proposing to have a look at Argo CD versus config sync for tomorrow's agenda. If you wouldn't mind sticking it on tomorrow's agenda, maybe it'd probably be better for
Yeah.
tomorrow's agenda, maybe because we missed a few people and my VM decided to uh, misbehave as well also. So
Sure. Okay.
thanks, thank you.
Yep.
I had it posted. It was from an earlier to 28th September or something, but yeah, just wanted
Oh,
to.
is it already on here? Okay.
It was an older one, but yeah, I proposed to bump it to to today's agenda. But yeah, just so it's there. Thanks.
Okay. Well, yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right, then, Joseph, why don't you jump into your questions regarding? I guess I can uh, open this for, or you want to share your screen, or you want me to open this for you?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Floor is yours.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I hope it's visible. Yeah, so I think the previous discussion I just gave background of how we wanted to go up adding common configuration, right? To be shared across NFs, both core and RAN. How would you provide that information? So we discussed that we would go through the approach of using dependency. So that's what I had tried out. So what I did was I created a package, a config package, not really for deployment, but just a configuration package with the spec, which has all the configurations required. This is a simple spec, which is required OAI for the moment. We will add more in here. I'm trying to deploy a CUCP RAN function, network function, in the edge. So that's the scenario. And in that package, I provide the dependency, giving this package information of where I need to pick the configuration, what type of configuration it is. So I use this kind params 3GPP to understand it's a configuration and also to refer to that here in the dependency. So after I mean the final package when it is getting created, and this is how the output is, and I see the parameter refs getting added like this, and this is how the final config file also looks like, the final config kind with the embedded configuration. So this is how I'm using right now, and I'm able to do it using the CU at least for CUCP and CUUP have tried it out. So so we can get the information into the controller. So this is the approach, and some things I've done. One change was to make changes to the controller to adapt to the common NF deployment spec. So we made the changes to the controllers, but to run the pipeline functions, we have to make changes to the KRM functions as well. So we needed this common NF deploy KRM to do this. So I think it was not ready yet. So for testing, I think we went ahead and made those changes. Also, there is a provider field as part of the NF deployment spec. So the provided field. So currently, what happens is when you use the existing UPF deployment KRM functions, the spec is generated at the end. That means if you add anything in the base package, spec in the NF deployment, it will be overwritten. So it doesn't retain the parameters that are added earlier. So we had to make some changes here as well to in the KRM functions to retain this older spec. So that's one, and also this naming change of parameter f. So that also we did. So I think has replied to this saying that Akash is also working on this. So I will sync up with him on this topic and see if these can be included, and or if he's not done it, we can also raise a pull request for it. So this would be required for the core and RAN. So all of the NFs, this new KRM function will be required. So another thing is we're trying to add new networks and interfaces. So not really completely understood the procedure. So I'm trying to understand that. So maybe if somebody can help on this topic, or it will take some time. So me and Sagar can try to figure it out on how to add the new interfaces required for RAN or new VPCs required. So this is something that is something, which we have to do. So we have not done this. We need to learn how to do it.
So I think probably Wim is the best person to help you with all of those things. I will say on the network side, as I understand it, you can think of there being kind of a couple different aspects to that. One is the kind of abstract representation of a network. Another is the configuration of the resource backend to be able to allocate subnets and VLANs associated with that VPC. And then the third is the actuation of that VPC in the container lab or whatever it may be. So those are kind of three different aspects. From the point of view of the package, the network function package, all you should really care about is that you're saying you want to attach to some network that exists, and then it's sort of out of the scope of the package author for the network function package how those other things happen. Now, of course, in order to get your network function fully configured and delivered, those things have to happen, but they're like done by a different role, a different persona does those. So right now that's done. We have a network package that defines at least the IPAM pieces, and I think. But Wim, is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm doing two things at the same time here. But so the first thing you need, if you build a new network, just add it to the network package. So there's a package for networks, and that will do the whole resource backend provisioning, and will also do the actuation on the network devices to set up. So that's whole chain. So that's the first thing that you need to do. But what I wanted to understand, Joseph, is what you did. So you say,
this one.
So I add two network interface. Did you get an IP? So we
so
should
IP. So the IP claims are working fine. So basically, I try to have two interfaces and use the VPC RAN and used N2 network and N3 network. So when I try to do that, the IP claims were working fine. Our IPs are allocated, but at the end, the NF deploy.
Okay, so
YAML
there might also be a bug in
content-
the NF deploy function. So that's also a cache.
Yeah. So that okay. So that interfaces are not getting added into the final deployment. Only one of them is getting.
Okay, so that may be, yeah, so that's probably a bug in NF deploy, probably. So if you talk to Akash, ask him to look at that as well. Because here what you did is basically use an existing network and you added a second interface to it, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, yeah, correct. So
Okay.
so existing network to allocate IPs, but from two different networks, N2 and N3.
Yes.
But I was not able to. And also, if you give, I think for the same network. So if I cannot give two interfaces of the same network, right? Is that possible?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Wait. So but you have to. There has to be a name. So there needs to be an identifier, which is.
Yeah, we can give a different name. Let's say A1 and A2, and then use it from. But even in that scenario, it was only one of them was getting added. So I tried those two. Probably.
Yeah, okay, but it might be a bug in NF deploy, right? So that he just takes one or something like that. Because we saw another bug that he wiped out the config ref when you edited it from the beginning. So, but Akash is looking at all of these things at the moment. So I'll ping him as well to say to look at it because we can test this independent and stuff like that. So yeah, so there might be a bug in NF deploy to fix this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But so there is another thing. So if you need an additional network, you have to just add it to the network package.
Yeah, for that, once it is deployed, I mean, already the package is deployed, we can just append to it and then commit it again. Is that?
Yeah, so you create a new version of the network package, right? So you basically create a network package and then you add that to your cluster, and that typically takes care of the whole provisioning. The whole flow should take care of that. Yeah.
Okay. So then I'll try that. Yeah.
And then you can use them. So there is two things that you need to do. Is one is add the network in that package, and then the second thing, of course, is then in the NF package. So the RAM in this case, you need to add the interface and reference to that network, basically.
Sure.
That's what.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good to document this as well. If we just for the going forward that we show or add this as a procedure for the other people, then we can. Avoid
sure.
having to do it all the time or explain it all the time.
Yeah, sure. Do that. Yeah.
The one thing, Joseph, that I put into a comment is that we discussed at some point is that the CR that you have right now for 3GPP, are we okay that all of these things go together, or should we split out PLMN from the tracking area and NSA list and stuff like that? Are we sure that we have to put them all together, or should we split them?
We can split, I think, but I think this is maybe just for R2. We could just have one. We were just discussing with Sagar as well. So maybe we just.
Yes, we should also look at this. How does it work as if we deploy a full solution, right? Because does it mean that we have to add this to all of the other UPF, other NFs?
The dependency, yes, I think.
Basically, what you're saying, what you're proposing is, and what we should also, so that's probably another item. I don't know who is looking at that. Is all the hard-coded elements that we had for 3GP for free 5GC, right? So there's a bunch of hard-coded things. This also goes into the same thing that you are discussing here. So should we not holistically look at all of this and then maybe just create one CR that basically adds them all somehow? Because because for free 5GC we have, I think there was one item that we wanted to address in R2 is to avoid having these hard-coded parameters. So if we could come up with I don't know whether it's one or multiple, I don't care basically, but a way that we can convey all of this information dynamically through the whole chain, even if we don't do anything with it, then we can do it for both core and as well as for radio, right?
Right. I think this is the plan for OAI, at least OAI core and OAI RAN. For free 5GC, I think we can add it to the package, the dependency, and I think it will be it will be added, this con will get added as part of the final package for free 5GC, but whether it uses or not, I think it's up to the controller. Maybe
We can, yeah, so if you have it, I can change the operator. So that's fine. So this is needed, so PRMN and stuff is needed for AMF and SMF for free 5GC. It's not needed for UPF, but you can add it too. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we're saying we're gonna make sure that's a shared common CRD that different vendors can use that's got the 3GPP params, and potentially split it so that it's, if there's aspects that are only needed by RAN or something, they live in a different CR. Is that what I understood?
Yeah, but I think for now, I think we can start with one and then probably split up later.
Okay.
Based on once we have all the
question
parameters.
What I would just want to make sure, if it's one, I don't know enough about the 5G architecture to know, but like, could there be multiple versions of the RAN one for a single core? So like, if we're combining them, does that mean we're going to have a bunch of duplication or of the core piece, or is it like not like that? Like, I'm wondering about like sort of classic database design normalization, whether there needs to be normalization or not here.
Yeah, so yeah, I think for slice informations, which probably isn't included here, it's definitely more topology related. PLMN is probably very global, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, that's not, whatever you guys think is right.
The NSSAI
Or
stuff, then that probably is a substructure to something that probably needs to propagate.
Okay, so that's fine. Whatever we need to do, like, but let's just make sure, like, if it's not too much work to do it now, it's better to do it now than to have to do it later when people have built things on top of it. That's all. So let's just be conscious of that. I see Sagar's hand.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just wanted to actually add, before when Wim was saying something about this. So if Joseph, if you can go on slide 5, if you don't mind, and Wim, especially here when you talked about this, by the way, the 3GPP parameters, which are common ones. So here there are going to be more parameters, as for example the DNN and the DNN information, and even the PLMN will be a list. And in every PLMN will be there will be slicing information and DNN, which is also required by free 5GC, because free 5GC also requires DNN for SMF and AMF and UPF. So it will be common, but let's say the NF specific, which is like really specific to the NF, for example, either the image name or logging level or things like that, which is really specific for NF. For that, we can have a config ref or like a config kind for the NF, and that will not go into the config package. It will be part of the NF package itself. That was
the idea. I think I added that point here, actually, vendor specific configuration. So the question was whether to use a dependency. I think you're suggesting that we add it as a config manually in the package, right? This approach.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So we can do that. Yeah. I mean, both approaches are viable, I think, right? What we discussed is that because we needed the same information on multiple places, that's why we took the dependency. But if you basically say, okay, there is one information that is very specific to a single NF, then it's better to add it into the parameter ref directly, right? And so when I discussed with Akash actually yesterday, and I have been discussing almost daily with him, he is adding that as well into the enhance or to the changes in NF deploy, right? So you could start with so the provider would be there from the beginning, right? So as part of the initial package, and then you could have parameter ref, which are static, which are more static, or let's say NF instance very specific. And you could have a dependency one, right? So, and the idea is to mix all of them together. He will check what he will do in NF deploy for what we discussed is check for duplications. And that's about it. So that's all the validation he will do, so that we don't have duplicate information. But he is trusting that what is someone puts it in it is there for the moment. So yeah. So validation is limited to duplication. But in other words,
there's also things that are specific to RAN versus core. So those should be made into some sort of structure too. So other RAN that goes on board will be able to use your RAN specific pieces.
Yeah, but that goes
this may
down
not be a vendor specific thing.
Yeah, so that, Stephen, that goes down to then coming up with a 3GPP CR somehow, right?
We're sort of doing that though, right? Because we want to share that across vendors.
Yes, yeah. The question is whether we should go there, but I think it would be good to spend a little bit of time on it just to see what information should be put together, right? I'm not saying that we should put a lot of effort in it, but at least think it through a little bit with a few people and try to come up with an approach and then take that for R2 rather than, because to John's point, from the moment we've seen it, right? Even with this config ref and stuff like that, although it seems to be a small change, it's basically trickles through all over the place.
Right.
So if we can, if we think it through a little bit, probably it will never be 100% perfect, but it will help us to rework some of this stuff going forward. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we only have one RAN vendor, so yes, it's okay to make it a vendor extensions and see whether we can propagate that to a common structure maybe afterward. So I'm okay with that approach. I'm just saying, if we're splitting off for core RAN, then it's a possibility that the RAN parameters are also common. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a conclusion there? Do we
Yeah, I
have
think
an
maybe
action item? Okay.
we can keep it open for comments probably. So I think this slide you can add comments and probably we can discuss and see.
Yeah, maybe Joseph, would it be okay to have maybe a meeting, just set up a meeting and have a small discussion and just spend
tomorrow
is
is
fine.
okay?
For me, it's okay. Just
the same slot
discuss it a little bit,
or
and then but focus on the CRD, right? Focus on the CR.
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. Okay. So should it be in the same slot as in this today's time, or you want a separate meeting with a smaller group?
Or we can also add it onto the agenda tomorrow if that's also an option, right? I think, John.
Yeah, so there's a SIG 2 meeting tomorrow. Yeah.
There's nothing else. I mean, there's Argo CDs on here, so if you want to put it on the agenda for tomorrow after the Argo CD discussion.
Yeah, I think that could be good, I think.
Okay, so that's Joseph, Sagar, Wim, and that's
Stephen.
what, 3G? Stephen. Okay.
Yeah. I'm affected.
Like 3G. What do you want me to call the agenda item? 3GPP.
CLD discussion, I guess.
CRD discussion. Okay. So we'll see. And all right. Okay, then anything else on this topic, or maybe we should go through the board with the rest of the time and make sure that we're and see where we are for the release.
Yeah, I think nothing
So-
else. I think one more point related to this is I've raised a pull request for the initial code. I think Wim had some comments on adapting to the new NF deployment, so I've added that as well. So if I generally wanted to ask the review process is that the owners would review it and then merge it
So
because I wanted
the
to try
way,
the full cycle actually once before, not to keep it till the end to see. For example, I want to like merge it and then create Docker images for the controller and see if that goes kind of downloaded and use it in my
Yeah.
setup to test it.
yeah. So a couple things. This is in the OAI or I guess it's in different repos, right? So the owner, you need an approval from an owner, which I think in the OAI repo you are an owner, but then you need an LGTM from somebody else. So, and we are trying to keep the PRs open for at least I think it was 48 hours. We were saying to give enough time for people to see them.
36.
36. Okay, thank you. And so yeah, if you want to, sometimes people don't see the PR, so you can ping people on Slack if you want reviews from particular people. Because GitHub emails, there's so many of them for some of us that we just, they all go to the bit bucket. So just, yeah, potentially ping people on Slack. And you can't LGTM your own PR, but if you're in the owner's file, you can approve it. But you still need somebody else to LGTM it, and then it will merge. If you want builds out of that, image builds, Rado usually sets those up, but if you look at, so you could reach out to him and he would probably do that. Or you can look at how he's done it in other repos, and do it yourself, but then it's another PR, it's just another PR that needs to merge. So there's, yeah, so that's effectively how it works. You can, of course, also just build it yourself and push it to your own Docker repo, which you're probably already doing. But if you want to see it in the whole flow, yeah, it's nice to have it in the Nefio one. Does that help?
Yeah. So I wanted in the common one because I currently have the build locally, so but it cannot be
Okay.
shared externally.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Right. Yeah.
if it's able to share externally, then even Sagar can download it and also use it in his setup.
Got it. Yeah. So reach out to Rado, and he will either help out with that or show you how to do it.
Yeah, sure.
To set up those builds.
Sure.
Yeah, but in order to push to the Nefio, there's like a couple of us that have the permissions to push to that, and then other than that, it's proud. And so typically the automated builds are the right way to get them in there.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you need it like urgently, and there's not time to get an automated build, you can reach out to me and I can possibly push an image there.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll check with Rado first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Then let me share my screen again. This one. Okay, so let's try and make a pass through. There's actually, if we look at the the overall release, there's actually over, it looks like 100, unless these are not sequentially numbered. Yeah, they seem to be. There's like over 100 items in here, although a number of them are done. So, but I guess we can start with a sprint. I think probably Bala and I need to go through this and make another comb through it. But let's at least start with where we are. So any update here? I know we were just talking about it. It sounds like you have well, I'll let you summarize the status, I guess. Joseph.
Yeah, so for the KPT packages, I have it currently locally. I wanted to check on where can I probably raise a pull request so that people can review
Okay.
these and where it needs to be like finally
Okay.
placed.
Okay, so then we'll make a pull request to the, where you would do it is to here. So there's a repo there. This is for packages now. This is where all our packages are going to be going. There'll be a subdirectory for you. And if there's not, then you can propose one, but there should be. So
I think you
organiz-
created OAI. Yeah, I think you created OAI. Yeah. Workloads.
Yeah, so I think it'll be under workloads. You'd see an OAI, and that this is where your network function packages would go.
Okay, yeah. I'll put an initial version here and people can review
Yeah,
it.
as well as your operator package should go there as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Operators and the workload.
Yeah, and
I'll put
and
everything
functions.
under
Yep.
OAI. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
So, sorry,
Okay.
I'm joining late. But Joseph, like we discussed earlier, I mean, any PR that you have, please keep pushing it so that the team can take a look at it, community can take a look at it and provide feedback. Earlier, the feedback is better, so that there are no surprises.
Yeah, I had raised it maybe
Cool. Thank you.
2 weeks back. I think I've
Thank you.
got review comments I've updated also.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Vala.
So what's the status here? It looked like there, and this is kind of what we were just discussing, right? But there were a couple of PRs, but it looks like there's still an issue. So is this is going to be discussed? This is going to come out of the discussion tomorrow, right?
This is okay. There is a I think
Or is this different?
something was not merged correctly. I think Wim was working on a separate PR to address that. But I had a comment there as well. Maybe.
Yeah, look, I just came back, Joseph, this morning
Sure.
from my travel.
Sure,
But yeah, so the name is So there was a fix, but I think this thing here is bigger than this. Is actually the one that should ensure
Talk about
that,
tomorrow, right?
yeah. So that I think this is the topic for tomorrow, in my view, because this is the one that allows to. This should be across any network function. It should be across core or radio, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The PR that we have is a means to is a piece of this, right?
Yeah. So there's some PRs that are part of it, but it's not done yet, and we'll have more discussion tomorrow. That's fine. Stephen.
I am going to have, so I sort of simplify the API a little bit. So I'll send the API patch today or tomorrow. Someone asked for a design doc, which also needs to be updated. So I'll send that first out by the end of the week. And then code will follow. Updated API first. The first one was API. And then an updated design doc. And then code. Hopefully in chunks instead of, well, it's a patch because it's an existing code that I did last time already. But then I promise I'll make it smaller moving forward.
By code next week?
Yeah, code followed by code. Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. Helm integration epic. Are we done with this, Vika? What's it looks like there were a few different
the couple POCs already for Helm integrations. So I think it's time. So on SDK meeting, we get tired talking about Helm. So we're moving to the next phase, which is trying to do a POC that is a little more end-to-end. So that's probably what's going to happen next. But then in terms of well, I mean, it's kind of hard to know what the POC really covers, but it's the items,
I think
Yeah, I
Bala,
think I
Bala,
would-
This
Bala
one's-
created Bala created an epic for just to house all of these together, but
Okay, but this one, for example, is done, right? You merged
probably
this
can be
POC,
closed.
right?
Yeah, probably can be closed. Yeah.
Yeah, but are we going to do anything more on Helm in R2 than this? We might, the POC might get going, but
Yeah, I think
yeah,
Probably not.
POC is
Probably-
pretty much what we have.
Yeah.
As I said, the SDK obviously will release sort of independently of the R2. It would be nice to have something, but probably not. At this point, I create. Oh, by the way, I created a repo on Nephio that is Nephio SDK. But then one could argue that some of these should first go to experimental, because we haven't actually reconverged. It'll be
Okay.
yeah. We'll figure something out on this.
Here's what I'm going to say. Please update the status of each POC and close as appropriate. And we'll just say that for now. If you can go through those and just update GitHub so that we, what we know what's happening next time we go through here.
Okay.
And I know Liam asked the question, how much we need to do for this one. I think yesterday we had a meeting where we had a representative from the Helm plugin from Red Hat providing some guidance. So if at all possible, if you can zero in on one approach by R2 timeframe, like this is how we are going to tackle it, both from the SDK perspective and Helm support perspective, that would be a great achievement in my view. Like we have all the spikes now and we have all the data, and do we have all the data? That's the question. I mean, do we have all the data, and can we zero in on one approach? This is how we're gonna go ahead with both our SDK support as well as the Helm support. If you can do that, that would be a great achievement.
So maybe what we need here is some sort of design, pros, cons, recommendations, decision,
Yeah, I think so.
Decision document, and that should be, we could even, that should be a doc in an MD doc in the repo. Now, maybe it should start,
Sounds good.
I don't know, start as a discussion. I don't know. That's up to you all. But that would be one way. So you could do there's reviews and discussion. One way you could start it would be create the document listing pros and cons, and then as a group, what either come to a decision or I don't know. I mean, recommendations doesn't make sense unless there's some decider, and you are the decider. So as a group, right? It's all community decision. So maybe just pros, cons, and then a consensus. And then you can debate that on the review, or you could do the same thing in a discussion. I know Liam started to set up the discussions thing. We are going to try it out and see if it works better for this kind of thing than a review. It's the kind of thing we've been using Google Docs for, but it'd be nice to have it captured in GitHub.
Shameless plug, there's 2 or 3 things up there already if people want to have a look.
Yeah, I think it's captured here, like Liam said, Google GitHub discussions. Yeah. Okay,
so that's it's a good point, Bob. We'll consider that. This is I'll edit this. This is the deliverable for R2.
Yeah.
For R2. And once we have that document, then we'll know this epic is closed. Okay, awesome. Makes it more concrete. Okay. This is, I guess the other one was an epic, or what? Oh no, that's RAN. I see. So
Yeah, that one is
Joseph or Sagar, this is
it's the same. I think probably should
Okay.
go to the same place.
okay.
And by the way, I don't know whether we have Sagar on the call today. I think Sagar is a Dr. Sagar now. I think he has completed his PhD.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
Sagar on?
Is he here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm right here. Thanks.
Hey, Sagar,
Thanks, Mark.
congratulations, buddy.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
hello,
Thank you so
doctor.
much.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's a Dr. Sagar to you?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
doctor.
So he'll be offended if you don't use that prefix.
I really don't mind if you will use it or not. I haven't even updated my LinkedIn. I will never do that.
Wow, congratulations. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So now I'm gonna work on the other core network part to implement all the changes which we mentioned about NF deployment, which are recently there. So I'm gonna do that and be aligned with the configuration which he changed. Joseph changed for 3GPP param. And I also use, and I mostly finish my, like I also mentioned earlier, that I'm gonna use for finding the DNS scapper, the service, which Alex has mentioned. So I've already done the POC with that, but I couldn't manage to use Vault with CSI. So that was the only blocking point, because this scapper service needs a token, which is generated in one scapper site, let's say a core cluster, and the same token has to be there in the region, in the edge site, to be connected. And I wanted this token to be stored as a secret inside the inside the Vault CSI, but I couldn't manage to share it. That
Okay.
was the only
So
part.
we have yeah, we for the sandbox environment, so secrets management like that is going to vary based on the particular environment you're running in. For the sandbox environment, we have a token controller you could potentially integrate with, and it will deliver tokens to edge clusters, I believe. Wim, that's correct, right? It actually talks down to the edge clusters or not? I don't recall. We may have lost Wim. Anyway, we can have a discussion about
Sorry,
that.
I'm back.
later.
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, okay.
I'm multitasking.
I think he's in 2 meetings at once. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
So what,
3.
yeah, 2. What was the question? Sorry.
So Sagar was working on there's a token, a shared secret that's needed between the edge and management clusters. And I thought the token controller, does it actually talk to the edge clusters over their API server, or does it use the bootstrap? I couldn't recall how it worked.
By the API. So basically it uses the certificate, the secret that cluster API provisioned, and then talks to the API server direct. So what I was suggesting is to add the secret towards the, the management. So we have a special repo, right? So if you add the secret there, it will distribute it.
But then it's going to be an open secret.
Yeah, then it's in a, you can't really put a real secret in a repo, right?
What I was saying is, if you take a secret that wait, so how does it work again? So we create a secret and we have to tag it with a special annotation. So there is a README in the secret controller that explains how it works, by the way.
The token controller. Yeah, look at the token controller. Check out the README there. It that might be sufficient for what we have right now in the sandbox environment.
Okay, I gotta do that. Can you just point me out there also, if you don't mind? Can you just give me the link if you find it quickly?
I will dig it up, Sagar. I'll put it in the notes here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
thanks, Adon.
So
yeah.
Thing before we go to the next one, while we are celebrating Sagar, I also wanted to introduce Daniel from our team, who is joining our calls. He's from Red Hat. So he wants to first try to understand the lay of the land and then starting to contribute.
Awesome. Welcome,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, hey everyone. Yeah, I'll just introduce myself quickly. So like Bala said, I'm on his team at Red Hat, so just eager to start learning about this. So I've been listening in on a couple calls, looking at the sandbox environment, etc. So hopefully start contributing soon.
Welcome, Jenny.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. So there's a larger issue of addressing secrets management generally, but I don't think we're getting there in R2, honestly. All right, so let's continue. That one we already talked about. So Tal, the experimental repo, is that all
Yeah,
set
I
up
think
now?
there's one thing on the experimental repo, Tal. I think I put a note, may not be on this one, but on the pro side, it appears that Rado does not have the permissions to set up anything on that repo. I think he needs the permissions. I think it's not on this one. This one obviously it is going to come from Linux Foundation, but the other one, would you be able to give him the permissions that for?
So
yeah, I can do that.
I think we decided, yeah, it's on a case-by-case basis. So I think I don't know who. I think the same people who are admins on Nefio project are also admins on Nefio experimental. I think Kenny just copied the permissions. So
What's a different org, right?
so if we want to create a new repository there, SIG3, I think we decided has the rights to allow it. So any admin can just create a repository and make somebody an owner of the repository. So that is our process, quote unquote. Right. So yeah, if we
just
approve,
send a message to the released Slack channel. That's what Tal did anyway.
Yeah, I think the process, like post it on the SIG release Slack, say that you want to create a repository there, and if we have no real objections to it, then I will just create that repo. And
I think that that's fine. I think that what needs to happen though, all I'm asking about is this: is it all set up to do this easy CLA and PROW? And you're saying there's something more needed there, right?
I think Kenny set it up.
Yeah, the CLA gate is for all LF projects. So I think we got that by default.
Right. I couldn't test this because when I created my repository there, TKO, I already signed the CLA, so it didn't ask me. So we'll see if we can create a quick experiment to see if it tests, just create a repo. But I think everybody here has already signed the CLA. So I don't know if how easy it will be to test that it works. Let's assume that it works. And if
okay.
Yeah, the other thing is to pro job. I think Rado said he does not have the permissions to set up the job there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here's who's right now. Okay.
All right,
we can do that later.
If you can just talk to me directly, I'll see if I can do that. If not, I'll further it to Kenny. But I think I think all of us who are admins on Nefio project are also admins here.
It's only this is it. This is all we have.
Okay. Well, we can right now, John. You can add other people if you're already on the screen. Members, I guess.
I can invite Rado right now. That's a little
at least
bit
invite Stephen as a co-chair of SIG3.
Are these both you, Stephen?
No, the second one is not me.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it is actually. I think that's HW is Huawei. Yeah.
Oh, it's your old.
Yeah, that's an older one. Yeah.
Yeah. So usually what we do is I think he would be a member, and then we have a team with has administrative privileges on the repos. Oh, let's see. I guess as the chair, you can probably be an owner too. So I was thinking it was Rado I was adding.
I can fix it later. It's okay. I think
okay,
I'm an owner.
thank you.
but I'm not sure. Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think
you
I
are. Okay.
tagged you on one of the issues, Tal. I think probably we need to.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can give him a permission, probably he can get going with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Th-
Thank you so much.
okay. Cool. All right. We only have 3 minutes left. We're not going to get through all these. So tomorrow we'll try and get through some more of these and get our status, and maybe Bala, you and I can go through them offline a little bit too before then and see, because I think there's like these are the ones that are assigned right now to the sprint 1, and there's a slew of them that are not yet assigned to a sprint. I think we need to do some grooming of this.
Yes, the other
board.
thing I wanted to ask John in this meeting is in the R1 I was kind of changing the sprints, but do you think we should do that, or do you think we should just treat it like a Kanban board like we have today and put all the issues?
I think we can just do a board for now, and we'll just. I mean, we only have a little bit of time left, so let's just. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm fine with just executing on things, on the highest priority things, and the sprint divisions isn't working all that well, frankly, for this team.
Okay.
Right, like we didn't. It's not like we really closed things in sprints and did demos or something, right? So.
Absolutely, I mean you can treat it as a Kanban board, and you can just pick things from the backlog. You can do that.
Yeah. So, okay. Any other quick questions, or we'll close it up for today, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Thank you all so much.
Sorry for
Okay,
chatting.
talk to you later. Bye bye.
Have a good
All
one.
right.